Today in cannabis news, Utah cannabis advocates urge state lawmakers to remove medical cannabis patient limits imposed on clinicians. Colorado senators issue a letter imploring the inclusion of the SAFE Banking Act to the U.S. National Defense Authorization Act. And a Kentucky state lawmaker pre-files bills to legalize cannabis statewide. It's Wednesday, December 1st, and this is your Trichomes Morning Buzz.
Broadcasting live from the Trichomes.com studios in Southern California. It's time for your Morning Buzz. We bring you late-breaking news that keeps you up to date with what's happening in the cannabis industry.
First up, following the Utah Department of Health failing to meet a deadline to broaden the state's medical cannabis system, the advocacy organization Together for Responsible Use and Cannabis Education is urging state legislators to remove the patient limits imposed on clinicians. Initially, state legislators approved a proposal that would allow any doctor, healthcare professional, or practitioner to suggest medical cannabis to a maximum of 15 patients in a restricted volume before needing to be certified as a qualified medical provider. TRUCE is urging the Utah State Legislature to repeal patient limits and additional certification altogether, permitting all healthcare providers to determine whether a patient satisfies the lawfully required criteria and then refer them to a cannabis retailer.
Next up, Senators Michael Bennet and John Hickenlooper of Colorado have issued a letter imploring top officials of U.S. Senate panels actively working on the National Defense Authorization Act, a key funding package for federal police agencies, to tack on the Secure and Fair Enforcement Banking Act to the wider legislation. The SAFE Banking Act, which was first sponsored by Representative Ed Perlmutter, would permit financial institutions to service state-authorized cannabis firms. Current law prevents licensed marijuana businesses from accessing banking services and products, such as depository and checking accounts, resulting in businesses operating in all cash, reads the letter. This is a serious public safety risk for our communities, inviting theft, tax evasion, robberies, burglaries, or worse, which further disadvantages the cannabis industry by making it difficult to obtain loans at reasonable rates. Senators Chuck Schumer and Cory Booker, both of whom have been pressing for comprehensive cannabis policy reform, have argued that implementing cannabis banking reform first could jeopardize the federal cannabis policy reform drive. In response, the senators wrote, "The legalization of cannabis has created entrepreneurship opportunities out of formerly illicit markets. But a lack of access to capital limits the ability of would-be entrepreneurs and small business owners to enter this emerging industry."
Last up, according to a statement released, Kentucky State Representative Nima Kulkarni pre-filed bills this week that would eliminate punitive measures for small-scale cannabis possession. If passed, Kentucky residents 21 years or older would be able to acquire, consume, purchase, or sell a maximum of an ounce of cannabis without facing criminal charges. The proposal would allow for the individual growing of up to 5 plants and grant citizens constitutional rights to defend such measures. Although punitive measures for owning, growing, and distributing restricted quantities of cannabis would be eliminated in Kulkarni's second proposal, sanctions for ownership of higher quantities would continue. As per the proposal, cannabis paraphernalia would be excluded from the state's substance paraphernalia laws. Kulkarni's bill will be on the ballot in the next election if 3/5 of both the State House and Senate pass them in the 2022 legislative session.
That was today's Buzz. Thanks for listening. For more cannabis news and insights from industry professionals and a place to discuss these stories and others, visit trichomes.com.
And be sure to catch up with all of our other cannabis industry-related podcasts like Hash It Out, Teching Cannabis, or the International Cannabis Conversation wherever you get your podcasts. For trichomes.com, I'm Devin Leal.
And I'm RJ Balde, signing off.